And you worked for Disney Studio.
Yeah, I worked for Disney Studio once. Never again.
Tell that story.
Well, that was because Sally and I were, well, at that time we were living in our motorhome. We were considered total gypsies. And I got a job on a Disney film called The Year of the Big Cat, two-part Disney film. And we shot it, of course, at the Disney Studios and on location. And Sally and I were, they allowed us to live on the studio lot with our motorhome while I was making the film, and we noticed that this was in 1974 or 75, and politically Sally and I were both militants at the time. We were militantly involved in the women's liberation movement and everything we could get involved in terms of freedom. And so we were there at Disney and complaining that the studio needed to catch up with the times, so to speak. It was certainly conservative, it was right-wing, it was all these kinds of things we thought. So we thought, well, let's wake them up. And we decided, it was toward the end of the street craze back then, in the mid-70s. And we decided that to wake people up at the studio one day, we would get Mickey and Minnie Mouse masks and streak the studio. So we went down to Hollywood Boulevard, couldn't find the mask, but we did find a Donald Duck mask. So I said, well, I'll do it. So at noon during lunch one day, we had it all planned, and in fact had a couple of professional photographer friends of ours there to take our picture, because they could show them what the route would be and everything. So I, in my working bathrobe, went into the men's room in the animation building at Disney at the studio, stripped down, ran out of the, stripped down, put on my Donald Duck mask and a pair of red, white, and blue sneakers from the police academy where I'd worked the week before on a police story, and came bursting out of the men's room in the animation building at Disney, ran down the whole length of the hall with all these people walking by going, what? Burst out into the sunshine on Mickey Mouse Boulevard, ran up Mickey Mouse Boulevard, past two executive vice presidents of Disney who reacted quite astonishingly. Ran up Mickey Mouse Boulevard, turned left on Donald Duck Drive, ran over to the commissary, which at that time was packed with people having lunch, ran into a corner of the commissary on outside an atrium where there were two-story windows into the commissary, did a big pirouette for everybody in the commissary, and then took off again. By this time, police chasing me, everybody chasing me, whistles blowing and everything. Managed to get back to my dressing room without being caught. But when I showed up for work an hour later, they knew that I'd done it. Because I left the key to my dressing room in my bathrobe in the men's room at the animation building, so they tracked me down. And the president of Disney, Ron Miller, came in with his lip quivering and said, "Why? Why?" And I tried to explain to him that I did it as a kinetic work of art, that you know, this was an expression of, it was a political statement, and it was also a little work of kinetic art. And that was all. I wanted to do that, nothing else. But Disney was terrified. They thought I was going to make a big publicity thing out of it and drop their stock, which is what Marilyn Chambers had done a few months before, and I didn't realize it at the time. Well, she had been the little baby on the Oxydol, on the box of Oxydol soap flakes. And she was a bit-time movie actor then. So she got a part in a Disney film, but not long after she was in a Disney film, she became a very instantly popular porn star, Marilyn Chambers. And so when Disney found that out and realized she'd been in one of their movies, they totally freaked. And then when I did my trip, they thought, oh my gosh, they're trying to destroy the studio. And of course they reacted much more to it than I ever thought they would, and that was the reason why. Once I convinced them that I wasn't going to make a big thing out of it, they kind of let me go, but of course I've never worked there since. I did have one nice thing happen to me. I got back to the West Coast after doing the soap opera in 1985, and somebody came up to me, an agent came up to me, and he said, "You know, Jeremy," he said, "I had lunch at the commissary of Disney yesterday," and he said, "Would you guess 10 years later what the biggest topic of conversation is in that commissary?" And I said, "You're kidding." He said, "No, they still talk about it." I said, "Well, thank you, thank you."
Right, you were shot.
I was in a couple of John Wayne movies.
He shot you a few times.
Yeah, yeah, he killed, yeah, he shot. He shot me in the back after I chopped off my friend Dennis's 4 fingers in True Grit.
Oh.
We seen Ned and Hayes 2 days ago, McAllister. You blow and I'll kill you. I'm played out, Quincy. I gotta have a doctor. I'll tell what I know.
In Sons of Katie Elder, I was trying to save his life when I got the shot. So.
Well,
Yeah, yeah. And I've been, associated with a lot of Western films and television in my past. I was in 11 episodes of Gunsmoke and 3 Bonanzas and 2 Virginians and Pony Express and Bat Masterson and all those great old Westerns of early days of TV back in the early 60s. I did a lot of the Westerns then.